Well, my Swarm satellite transceiver evaluation kit will basically be useless to me starting next year in 2025 after SpaceX, which bought the Swarm satellite system lock, stock, and barrel, terminates the small message service that I was paying $5 a month for to upload data and also emails to low Earth orbit satellites. So I've decided to um, recommission the transceiver, gut it, and use its shell to provide a platform for a Meshtastic radio repeater. A weatherproof box is attached to the underside of the solar panel on the transceiver, and here we've opened it up, and we can see the Meshtastic, or excuse me, the Swarm transceiver on the left-hand side with a white label, and up at the top with a little tiny black LCD screen. Underneath that is a microcontroller. And these are things that use power that I need to get rid of. I don't have any use for them in my Meshtastic radio setup. So I need to get rid of them, and then I also need to locate a source of 4 to 5 volts to use to power the Meshtastic radio. Luckily for me, the designers of the Swarm transceiver provided a direct connection to the three 18650 batteries that the Swarm transceiver used. So I'm just testing them, the jack that connects to those batteries here, and finding that after having set the solar panel out in the sun for a couple days, I've got about 4 volts available there, and that will do it. Here we see the rack 4631 Meshtastic radio laying inside of the former Swarm satellite transceiver, hooked up to power. Luckily I had the right connectors laying around to hook it up, so I manufactured a power cable. And then also at the top, the gray wire is the coaxial cable, very, very tiny, from what was a VHF antenna, but now is a 915 megahertz antenna, and then also the Bluetooth antenna down below. Absolutely essential to mention that you must connect antennas up before connecting power, because otherwise you're liable to destroy transmitters with the reflected power coming back in, since there's no antenna hooked up for it to escape to. So very important. Well, we couldn't leave the Meshtastic radio flopping around inside the weatherproof box just on top of a piece of paper towel to insulate it from the rest of the circuitry. So here it is at the top of the screen, on top of some plastic standoffs. Actually, I just glued them all together and glued them onto the circuit board, not wanting to drill into it, since the circuit board has some internal traces, wiring traces that you can't see from the outside, so not a good idea to be drilling in it. But now it's all ready to test. Well, here we have the remanufactured ghost of a Swarm satellite transceiver sitting outside for testing. Sitting outside in the sun so we can test the solar panel and see how well it keeps the batteries charged as the radio does its job in this area. Of course, how much current it uses depends on how busy it is, and it could vary widely, but we get around 100 nodes visible from my location here, so it should be a fairly good test. Then the issue arises how to mount this thing somewhere. Originally, as seen here, it was mounted on a tripod, and so I decided to just remove the portion of the tripod that connects to or connected to the solar panel, and use that as a basis for attaching the new Meshtastic platform to another mast. Here is the portion of the tripod that connects to by clamping onto the solar panel of the former swarm transceiver. And it's this that I'll need to be clamping somehow to the surplus military tent poles that I'll be using as a mast. With the new Meshtastic radio connected via Bluetooth to my Android phone, here you can see on the Android app a list of the first few nodes that the Meshtastic radio has heard. At the very top is the node itself, which I've decided to call Space Ghost, since it's the ghost of a satellite transceiver brought back to life by Meshtastic radio. And if you look at it carefully, you can see that the charge level being maintained by the solar panel is in the mid 80% region, and it's hopefully going to stay up somewhere near there for the foreseeable future. And on this screen, we can see that I was able to successfully transmit a message that was heard by another Meshtastic radio. You can tell that by the check mark and the little cloud icon at the bottom of the message, which says, good morning, party line 2, and so forth. And then, in addition to that, you can see that I've received a reply successfully. So the transmitter and receiver are working.